Well, we've had some exciting races here in Montreal. Remember 2011 with the race that was 4 hours and 4 minutes, the longest race in Formula 1 and one of the most entertaining. We've had some brilliant races here, some great people getting on the podium and some big drama in the race. It was set to be just an average kind of race, after the first few laps, after they all set off in this Grand Prix, but there was a big curveball thrown in just after halfway, and it's finished with an okay result. Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton takes another victory. That means they've won 7 out of 7 in this 2019 Formula 1 campaign, but it's very heartbreaking for one team in particular. The second race that they've lost a win that they had one man on pole position for, alongside obviously Bahrain, and it was, yes, a really big. It was an entertaining race only for this reason, but as I say, really, really heartbreaking, especially for if you're supporting the Italian team in red. So yes, welcome guys to our review of the 2019 Canadian Grand Prix, the F1 debate, to round 7, as I just said, of the 2019 campaign. And we headed in to this race at the Ile Notre Dame, Gilles Villeneuve circuit, the 7th round, really entertained after some brilliant races, especially in Monaco. The Ferraris are really underpaced in Monaco. Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc having both some big problems. Charles retired from that race. Sebastian Vettel benefited from a penalty from Max Verstappen in Monaco, but again Lewis Hamilton took his win, so he ran away with it in the World Championship. Valtteri Bottas in second place. The Ferraris really trailing behind, and in the constructors it was almost like they were untouchable. So if you watched the F1 debate show, which came out on Saturday, please do so. We talked about the upgrades that Mercedes had brought on their engines, and we thought that they were going to be absolutely unstoppable throughout the whole weekend, and boy were we wrong. Or there was very much a big emphasis on Ferrari, and yes, just kind of we literally had to eat our words as Sebastian Vettel took an amazing pole position yesterday over Lewis Hamilton. Charles Leclerc was battling Valtteri Bottas, but again it ended up where Ferrari were on the advantage after qualifying with 2 Ferraris in the top 3. Valtteri Bottas was in 4th position. Max Verstappen missed out because of a crash by Kevin Magnussen in the Haas, which brought out the red flag, and he missed the opportunity in Q2. So Max Verstappen was down the grid. He started 2 positions ahead. I think it was in the top 10. But again, it was a really juicy qualifying. So as I say, we headed into the race, the 50th edition of the Canadian Grand Prix, the 51st anniversary of Bruce McLaren, as he took his maiden win in the McLaren. So big day for Formula 1. The Canadian fans, really, really great from them. And again, I just want to say a big shout out to all of the Canadian fans out there, all the fans that went to the Canadian Grand Prix. It was absolutely amazing to see. Again, being at the Spanish Grand Prix a few rounds ago, and I was telling Jordan, I was saying, I can't believe that in FP1, FP2 and FP3, there was just almost nobody in the grandstands. It all waited until, well, the race day, that's when it was at the most packed. But yeah, there was just nobody in, for FP1 and all that. And I was watching FP2, which was on the Friday night, or the Friday evening, and yeah, the grandstands were just completely packed there. So, really, really great from them. I thought that was fantastic. I don't think I've actually seen that at a Grand Prix track so far this year. So yeah, really, really great from them. Really great throughout the entire weekend. Again, all the eyes were on Mercedes after their upgrades. But yes, the big day came, which was the Grand Prix. So it was really great to watch. Obviously, me and Jordan are really big fans of Canada. So was everyone else. They had Jensen Button there talking about his win that he took in 2011. Really, really remembered. And just, yeah, one of the things that made the Grand Prix really, really juicy. So yeah, we're headed into the race. Good start by Sebastian Vettel with Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc behind. It was really, really a bit of a procession for the first couple of laps. Antonio Giovinazzi got into a tangle with Sergio Perez of the Racing Point at the back of the grid. But as I say, all 20 cars made it around. There was no retirements until Lando Norris retired on lap 7 with a pretty spectacular problem that happened to his car. We all saw, so the left right, which I believe it was, came off the car, and there was quite a lot of fire that was coming through from the brake ducts, and we all thought that he'd gone into the Wall of Champions, making a name for himself, because if you hit the Wall of Champions, you are going to be a champion later on in your career. But that actually wasn't the case. He had basically just a suspension problem, which forced the brake ducts to kind of expand, and the suspension on the rear right wheel came off. He went right a few corners, and then caused the fire to come out. Problems for the car, but yes, and then he pulled over in the pit, at the pit lane exit, which caused the double wave yellows to come out. A lot of the teams, a lot of the drivers thought that there would be a safety car. Obviously, there's been quite a lot of safety cars in the Canadian Grand Prix at the circuit. Not a very tight circuit or anything like that where you'd expect a safety car to be, but yes, it has been out before. They were saying it led for almost 2 hours in the 2011 edition. that wasn't the case, and Lando Norris, yes, was the first retiree of the Grand Prix. First, you see on Lando Norris, fantastic battling from him. He was battling Max Verstappen in the first few laps. I think he almost got ahead of him by a nose or two in the first corner, and yes, some great battles from him. Really, really great. He was actually heading to be my driver of the day if he'd actually finished the race. So yeah, really good from him. Really unfortunate that he retired. As I say, 51st anniversary, of Bruce McLaren winning his first race with McLaren, obviously back in, I think it was the 1968 Belgian Grand Prix. So that was really, really great from the New Zealand guy who founded the team almost. So that was really, really good. Yeah, some great battles throughout the race. Charles Leclerc was showing some great promise, was showing some great pace in that Ferrari. The 2 racing points were hardly mentioned on the telly actually, but really, really caught my eye. Lance Stroll, really great from him. He was up to 8th place, so he climbed 10 positions from where he started on the I think it was 9 positions actually after the penalties that other people got. But yes, some great performance by him. Sergio Perez again doing quite well in the racing point. Yes, better though of Lance Stroll, the homeboy, who didn't do very well yesterday. Both racing points were out in Q3. Really, really unfortunate for the Canadian, new branded Canadian team. So that wasn't really good from them, but yeah, some great battles from him. Daniel Ricciardo, 4th place yesterday in qualifying even. He had a lot of support. The Australian fans really out in force, really giving him some really, really amazing support. Doing great. The highest position that anyone's ever scored for Renault since 2010. Yes, it was really, really great from him. He was really, really chuffed, to be honest, higher than he actually got last year in some races with Red Bull. So really, really great from him. Obviously outperformed his ex-teammate. Gasly managed to outperform Verstappen. And again, Gasly was doing quite well in the race. Nico Hülkenberg also was having a really, really good race. To be honest, everyone was moving quite well. The 2 Williams were at the back as well. Kimi Raikkonen was struggling. Antonio Giovinazzi was struggling after his first after his crash or collision with Sergio Perez and Roman Grosjean at the start. But running quite well. The Haas drivers, yes, showing a bit of struggle. Kevin Magnussen saying that it was one of the hardest cars that he's actually ever driven in his Formula 1 career because of his crash yesterday. Qualifying even, sorry, I should say that. You might not be watching it when qualifying was yesterday. After his crash even, he was showing some problems, and he was saying it was a really, really hard and just difficult car to drive. Roman Grosjean quite silent in the race, but yeah, not too much from the Swiss-born Frenchman. So yeah, we headed into about halfway, and it was looking really juicy between Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. Lewis Hamilton pitted 2 laps after Seb, had fresher tyres on the hard compound, and it was looking like Lewis was closing the gap. It was around 4 seconds, and he was closing it down, and it became almost 2, and then I think it was 1 second around lap 38 of the race, and it was looking like the second part of the race was basically going to be those 2. It was really, really incredible to see. So as we headed into around lap 40, Sebastian Vettel was really feeling the pressure under Hamilton, who was definitely gaining fresher tyres. It was really looking like it was going to be good. Those 2 had done an amazing battle getting through the midfield as well. The cars as well, I think it was 13 laps it took before Seb had actually lapped Robert Kubica, who was the guy at the back. So that was quite incredible as well. Just showed the pace and the difference between the Ferrari and the Mercedes compared to the back teams like the Williams and things like that. So yes, around lap 40, really, really big change to the race happening. Now we've seen Sebastian Vettel make big errors. We saw it in Bahrain 2019, a few races ago. We mainly saw it last year, France, Paul Ricard was actually the next round, Italy, Japan, and my biggest, the USA, and obviously his biggest one, which was Germany. So we saw Sebastian Vettel do some big problems, in terms of driving. Sometimes you can feel the pressure a little bit more than Lewis Hamilton. And going into, I think it was corner 3, again, very tight, getting very close to the turn 4 wall. He ran wide, he went over the grass. Just a bit of an error from Sebastian Vettel. Now, came back onto the circuit. Again, Lewis Hamilton, he'd been on DRS zone before. This is a lap that he wasn't. He's around a second and a half behind him at this point. Lewis Hamilton came on to try and take Sebastian because he'd ran wide. And yes, and then Sebastian Vettel goes back onto the racing line, shuts the door on Lewis Hamilton, says, "Thank you very much, you're not taking the lead." So Sebastian Vettel, ploughing over for a few laps, but Lewis Hamilton comes on the radio, says, "That can't be right, guys. Sebastian Vettel needs to be penalised. This needs to be looked into because he just kind of closed the door on me. You had the racing line very tight towards the wall, and as Sebastian Vettel came back onto the racing line, which, he is the race leader, he can obviously do, he kind of closed the door on Lewis Hamilton. You think that's fair? Lewis Hamilton had his foot down, as, all drivers do, and kind of Lewis Hamilton could have been into the wall. He wasn't, okay, it was just a racing incident, but he could have been into the wall. He was going for second place, and yes, the stewards are there, so you may as well use them. So Lewis Hamilton, got onto the stewards about this incident. I mean, it probably would have been looked at if Lewis Hamilton hadn't said anything. I'm not saying that it was all down to Lewis or Mercedes, even though they'd have wanted it. But yes, it just was a normal racing incident. I think many people could see that, before any of this had actually happened. That's what I thought. Anyways, I thought Seb was doing a really, really good job to hold Hamilton at bay, because that Mercedes wasn't fast towards the start, wasn't fast midway through, but then almost developed this kind of, very fast kind of mentality about it. It was going really, really well. So as I say, Sebastian Vettel was leading for a few more laps. Around 2/3 around into the race, it was said that the stewards had, after being under investigation, obviously since the incident, that the stewards had decided to give Sebastian Vettel a 5-second time penalty that would be added to his time. Now, very, very similar to what had happened in Monaco when Max Verstappen was penalised for, again, a problem that wasn't even his fault. A problem that wasn't even a problem in general. It was a bit of a racing incident. Obviously, quickly Max Verstappen penalised in Monaco, for the unsafe release by his team on Valtteri Bottas in the pit lanes. His team's problem, not his, and just a racing incident. Sebastian Vettel, just a racing incident. He was in front. He has all the cards in his deck, or that's what you thought. Anyways, so Sebastian Vettel finds out he has a time penalty. He's not very happy about it. He's on the radio. Yes, can't really fathom why. Lewis Hamilton, it said why, just, head down, it's hammer time. And yes, the whole dynamic of the race is changed from this point. Now, as I say, really, really unfortunate, for both parties involved. Really, really unfortunate for Ferrari. Charles Leclerc was heading into third, a really strong third over Valtteri Bottas. And yeah, it was really, really not what we wanted to see. Kind of destroying Formula One almost, because, last week, I even said, guys, about Monaco, I said that Sebastian Vettel didn't pressure. I'm thinking we're getting that right. Yeah, so third place, Sebastian Vettel, yes, didn't pressure Max Verstappen because he knew that Verstappen would get a penalty, which is not right. They should be pressuring all the way through the race, because that's what Formula One is. And in this race, Lewis Hamilton was pushing, okay, so I'll let him have that. He wasn't staying behind Vettel to conserve anything. But yes, the person who took the checkered flag first, Sebastian Vettel, was not going to win the race, or at least that's what they thought at that point. Anyway, that's what was going to happen. If Hamilton didn't catch Seb, which now everyone was actually rooting for, Ferrari probably thinking, well, God, Hamilton, you may as well just pass him, make Formula One a bit more, understandable. Obviously, yes, a few people in the garage would have been saying, come on, Seb, you can go 5 seconds faster than him. But it just really destroyed the impact of the race, because all Lewis had to do was to stay behind Seb and not lose 5 seconds, which, Lewis is not going to do. And hopefully Seb could take him by 5. But as I say, that was really, I think at 11 laps to go, it wasn't looking like that was actually going to happen. Sebastian Vettel really making the push on Lewis Hamilton, but Lewis closing on Seb. And to be honest, my dynamic had actually changed from Sebastian Vettel. I wanted Seb to win the race. I don't really have any favourites, I don't really have any dislikes, but I was hoping that Seb, after, as I say, not winning a race since Belgium 2018, that was the last time he won a race, and after all of his mistakes and mishaps and all that, through 2018, I was hoping that he would win the race after his quali, after he did that, and yes, he wasn't going to. So I was hoping that Hamilton could catch him, kind of put him out of his misery, and if Hamilton did win, it would be Hamilton would have won the race, and there'd be no argument about who could actually take the checkered flag at this point. And so yes, race towards the line, crossed the line, lap 70, loads of celebrations about the race win, but it's not, because the guy who takes the checkered flag doesn't know if he's won, and it kind of turns into a bit of a championship decider kind of mentality. Seb crosses the line, looks no one around, no one in Italy is actually celebrating. I don't know if I think there was a few guys on the pit wall, and he's looking around. What happened? Karun Chandok says that, David Croft says on Sky Sports F1, it's more than 5 seconds. Sebastian Vettel at the moment has won the race. And then Karun says, oh no, it's 4.6. I mean, really? 4.6 seconds? I mean, that's amazing. If that is actually, I assume that's true, yes. That's actually amazing that, for that to actually have happened. But Honestly, it really baffles me now. So Sebastian Vettel has won the race, won the Canadian Grand Prix, and yes, he can't be on top because of what's happened. I can't really fathom that. It's absolutely insane. Lewis Hamilton takes his win, 7th victory for him, extends his lead at the World Championship. Really good for him. 25 points. That's what he'd wanted. Valtteri Bottas, 12 points for him, 4th place and the fastest lap. At time of recording, that is, I think I missed the last lap just because I'm recording. But yes, it's probably going to take the fast lap anyway. I just can't believe that Sebastian Vettel, has gone through all of this. Really, really feel sorry for him. So just the last thing on me. Renault Team of the Weekend. Definitely amazing from them. Nico Hülkenberg and Daniel Ricciardo even have done amazing. The race has been incredible for them. Daniel Ricciardo in 6th place, Nico Hülkenberg in 7th place. Daniel Ricciardo holding off Valtteri Bottas, a great show from him. Also even challenging Max Verstappen, great from him, holding him off. Less so more that Valtteri Bottas, but yes, doing an amazing performance. Honey Badger is back. It's taken quite a few races for him, but he is now finally back, and I'm really impressed for him. The race permutations went like this. Obviously, as I say, 70 laps of the 2019 Canadian Grand Prix. In first place was Sebastian Vettel of Ferrari. He finished the race. That was an initial winner, but the actual winner of the race was Lewis Hamilton. So the actual permutations stand at Lewis Hamilton in first place. Sebastian Vettel takes a 2nd place behind Lewis Hamilton, with Charles Leclerc in 3rd position. Just quickly, actually, I think Charles was 10 seconds behind Vettel at that point. So the team were actually, I don't know if they got involved, but there was a bit of a debate whether Vettel should finish in front of Leclerc and what the permutation should be. Again, I'll just say that, that this is the last lap of what I'm going off, guys, so it has changed. I do apologise for that. But yes, as I'm finding this all out, that's how it actually stands at the moment. So as I say, Hamilton in first, Vettel in second, Charles Leclerc in third. So at least 2 Ferraris are on the podium. Valtteri Bottas is 4th place and takes the fastest lap. Max Verstappen in 5th place, Daniel Ricciardo in 6th place, Nico Hülkenberg in 7th, Pierre Gasly in 8th place, Lance Stroll in 9th place, and Danny Kvyat in 10th place. Amazing from Lance Stroll, really, really great, especially from where he started after his abysmal Q1 exit yesterday, or qualifying even, sorry. Really, really great from him. Home guy, really in contention for the driver of the day. 11th place, Carlos Sainz. 12th place, Sergio Perez. 13th place, Antonio Giovinazzi. 14th place, Roman Grosjean. 15th place, Kimi Raikkonen. 16th place, George Russell. And 17th place, Kevin Magnussen. So that is the permutations of the Canadian Grand Prix. Really, really unfortunate for the initial race winner, Sebastian Vettel. I think the last race that it happened in was the 2008 Belgian Grand Prix, when Lewis Hamilton was the initial winner, but was impeded by cutting a chicane in the at Spa-Francorchamps, and led to second place Ferrari driver Felipe Massa taking the race win. So yes, that was the last time that it actually happened. Really, really confusing scenes down there, but yes, really unfortunate for Sebastian Vettel, who really is unfortunately let down by the stewards at this point to a race win by Lewis Hamilton. Now, quickly, there might have been a guy that you haven't heard from yet, and that is my co-host Jordan, who sent me his predictions, a review, of the race. He says, Hamilton wins, not the race we wanted, race rating 1 out of 10. I mean, okay, entertainment-wise, it wasn't much, but it was heading towards the 4 or 5 kind of thing. But I do think that he's going on the side of Sebastian on this. It's not fair on Seb, and it's not what we want to see. I'm going to kind of agree with that. I'm going to give it a little bit of a higher rate, and I'm going to say it's 3.5 for me. Really unfortunate for him. I'm going to kind of keep all parties concerned in this. Lewis fans will be happy. But yes, Sebastian Vettel, no. And it's definitely not what we're going to see as Formula 1 fans. I definitely do agree with that. Good start from Seb, had a clean getaway. Lewis defending well to keep Leclerc behind him. A very good move from my boy Lando on Max. Again, like I was just saying at the start, guys, for the first 7 laps that Lando Norris was in the race, really great on Max Verstappen, really holding him at bay, really not giving in. That Renault power is not gone as Red Bull think, but that Honda power can really stick in. So it's Renault, old Red Bull alliance, versus Honda, old McLaren alliance. So it's really good to see. Where am I? Yes. So, are McLaren getting there again? Question mark. Well, there we go, guys. Leave it in the comment section, please. Are McLaren getting back there? Carlos Sainz having a great race as well. He was the only guy to finish, as I've just said at the start. 51 years since Bruce McLaren took his first and maiden win for McLaren in Belgium. He actually kind of answers that. He says, oh, maybe not. Lando Norris, yes, retires. Not happy to see. Danny Rick battling with the big boys and is looking confident in that car. Definitely, Danny Rick, really, really well done. And then that also leads me on to say that my driver of the day is Daniel Ricciardo. So well done, Honey Badger. That's my driver of the day. Let's see if Jordan agrees and what he says for the driver of the day. Charles Leclerc is in no man's land. Yes, not really not really involved in the Ferrari battles as we thought. Starting third place on the grid. This is the battle we want to see. Sebastian Vettel versus Lewis Hamilton. They're finally back. There's no Mercedes domination anymore. It's back to Ferrari red versus silver. It's amazing. We have a race on. Seb, he got very lucky indeed. Rear end stepped out and nearly lost it. So again, Sebastian Vettel doing really well to keep that car at bay. And again, this is before the penalty as well. And even he was thinking this is incredible. A race, four-time world champion like him, okay, it's a little mistake, but he manages to keep a hold of it. It's a little bit like what happened in Germany. The rear end stepped out of him in Germany and he locked up, but there's no wall to go into there. So yeah, really, really well done to him. But he could have gone into turn 4, which is quite I think it's the second highest kind of wall to crash into after the race of Wall of Champions. So good from him. He got really lucky and almost hit Lewis. For me, no penalty. So again, Jordan, he thinks just let them race. Sebastian Vettel he was first place. He could have done whatever he wanted, getting into there. Max getting one over his old teammate Ricciardo. Kind of. I mean, Red Bull is in. Max is in a Red Bull. Daniel's in a Renault, but really incredible from him, anyways. Smooth move to 5th place. So we had a race, and now we don't. Ridiculous. And to be honest, I agree with you there. It's just ridiculous. And as to use a Sebastian Vettel word, honestly, what are we doing here? Honestly, man, the FIA is an absolute joke. I totally agree. The Premier League, okay, the English Football League is getting VAR next year, video assisted refereeing or virtual assistant refereeing. It's going to say that it's going to destroy the game. And there's been a few implements that we've seen, Champions League, the Nations League and things like that, that it has actually implemented that. Man City, they were impeded by that, but Tottenham, gained from that. If you remember in the quarterfinal of the Champions League, the Nations Cup, even I was watching today, England versus Switzerland. We scored a goal. I think it was Dele Alli or Eric Dyer, someone like that. And Switzerland the VAR was shown. Switzerland wanted the goal to be disallowed. England wanted the goal to be allowed. Goal disallowed, and even that ruined the game because it clearly was a goal. So I'm just, whatever even if it's going to come into play or if it is in play, yes, these overrules and the stewards are really ruining. Honestly, man, the FIA is an absolute joke. Yes, I've just said it's not there at all. They shouldn't have really got involved. It's a racing incident, and to be honest, if I was Sebastian, I'd be scared for what's going to happen in Paul Ricard. I mean, is he going to cut the corner and get black flagged? It's like, what's going to happen here, guys? That's just, who knows? Driver of the day, Sebastian Vettel. So Jordan say more of a weekend thing. Really, really great from him. Pole position yesterday, really deserved. I think it's 5 pole positions now, so he's definitely creeping up. 1 away from Lewis Hamilton and 2 away from Michael Schumacher to match the pole position record around the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. Yes, he definitely deserves that as well. I'm giving it to the Honey Badge. I thought he did a much better race, but yeah, definitely great from Sebastian Vettel. So as the things stand, yes, Lewis Hamilton gains 25 points from the race. Sebastian Vettel gets some good points in second place, but yes, he could have been 25 and he could have won, and he could have had his first win since Belgium 2018, so it is really, really unfortunate for him. That was a Canadian Grand Prix, just not the ending that we wanted to see, not the finish that we wanted to see. Really, really unfortunate from him. The Monaco Grand Prix was kind of overlooked for the fact we had different things on it. We had different circumstances. Lewis Hamilton did take the win. He deserved Max penalty. He went down from 2nd to 4th. But this one is the biggest, and I think we're going to be talking about this long into the night, again, like they said on the commentary, and we're never, ever going to be stopped talking about it. This is massive. This is like, wow. This is going to be a big topic for the ages. It has really, I don't want to say it's spoiled the Canadian Grand Prix, but it's really taken a damper on things. So anyway, guys, that is the end of the Canadian Grand Prix review. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked what you've seen around here, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the race in the comment section below. I'm really looking forward to. We're really looking forward to reading your what you thought of the race. Seb versus Lewis and the FIA involved. Have a go at the FIA. We really, yes, please rip them to parts. Rip them to shreds in the comment section. We probably will be as well in the next few weeks. The FIA will have no friends afterwards. So thank you very much for watching, guys. The F1 Debate Show, please, if you like what you've seen, please check out our other videos and please subscribe if you are new around here. We have a goal to reach 600 subscribers by the British Grand Prix, which is in 2 races' time now, just after we get Spielberg and Paul Ricard and Spielberg out of the way with. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and until next time, we'll see you later.